And our next all-day sit in June is also our Jukai. I'm looking at a few people in the room. Which probably won't be small, but will be very sweet. So that's a delight. I was so a confession. Because I think most of you know, some of us just came out of Shiho Dharma transmission 12 days, which was a lot like a sesshin, but probably easier. Easier? Oh, easier, Mary Ann says. But a ritual and Zen ritual is very deep and very transformative. And I can feel in my own body. I went to my acupuncturist because I periodically go there to do tune-ups. And he said, most people come in and their energy's all up in their heads and their minds and their hearts and and he said, yours is all way down. And I feel that. And that my mind is just starting to come back online. So that's by way of an apology. And the other side of it is that it's just amazing. Feel the wind in the trees and the light and roses. What are roses and where do they come from? And so, you know, so that's going to lead me into, and I did this on Tuesday. Every year we do way-seeking mind talks. The Sangha gives way-seeking mind talks, which is a delightful part. I just wish every Sangha would do this because it's important to hear from each other and to know each other in this deep way, because we know each other in the silence and in the small groups. But there is something particular about just each person sharing that it's not recorded. What brought you to this practice? What is this life? What is this practice life that is everyday life? So some people, if you've been, so I'm gonna put people on the spot. Some people said, I have a little list from Tuesday, and nobody ever has to do this. So there's two. One is if you've been part of the Sangha and you feel part of the Sangha and you feel committed to practice and you've never given a way-seeking mind talk, I'm going to ask, let me ask first, would you put your hands up if you would be interested in giving a way-seeking mind talk? And I'm trying really hard not to look at anybody. and that's online and in the room. It's scary, but it's also rich and wonderful. Any takers? I might come and ask you anyway, but you can say no. I don't see anybody online either. Okay.
Come on. You can be very self-involved.
Did anybody put their hand? Is it even shot? No? Okay. Yeah, you can be very self-involved. And the other is, my hand's up on screens. I don't know how I did that.
I don't know how
You're modeling yesterday.
I'm modeling. The other is for people who have been part of the Sangha for some time, and there's a good number.
Lower hand.
Whose hand?
I lowered your
Just
hand.
lowering your hand.
Do you mean if you have never given one?
Oh, if you haven't given a way-seeking mind talk in this Sangha before, you may have given it other places, like somebody, Deborah's, who practiced for a long time, probably maybe gave it in another Sangha, but if you haven't given it in this Sangha. But if you've been here for a long time, or a short time, I mean a medium time, or whatever, but if you've given a talk before, and it feels right to do it again, like if you haven't given one in the last few years, but in the past, and you'd like to share, it's a learning process because you get to look at your own life and your own practice. Yeah, Deborah and Judith. Okay, great. Anybody else in the room or on screen? Okay, thank you.
Chris, I will do one later in the summer.
Okay,
If.
good. Okay, great. Okay, so, going on, the Eightfold Path. We're on right mindfulness. And I said this on Tuesday, I'm gonna repeat a little of what I said on Tuesday and then go on and do something new. The Eightfold Path, I really appreciate the essays that these are senior women Zen practitioners in the Jiko Cheryl Wolfer is the editor of this. I wanted to start kind of where I started on Tuesday with the word right. You know, we've had lots of discussions about what is this right? Doesn't mean right as opposed to wrong. And the word that came to me recently was upright. Being upright in this life. And what is that? I remember, oh God, I'm going to digress, sorry, because I have all these other great things I want to say to you, but anyway, I remember Richard Baker, who I was at Zen Center this past weekend, Zentatsu Richard Baker, and had a stroke and seems to be okay and is going to be at Zen Center recovering. But I remember him saying to me once, just encountering me, because I was young and I was scared. I mean, young and scared, and probably instead of upright, uptight. And he said something to me like, you can always, I mean, now I kind of want to apologize because there is some, anyway, you'll see why. He said, you can always tell a blind person on the bus.
You can always tell what?
A blind person on
Oh.
the bus. You know, it's like there's some way that there's some way that I was being that. I don't like what he said now that I say it, but I get it. There's some way that you have to effort in a different kind of way to just be in everyday life. And I think mindfulness that I saw early on, and maybe still, and because it's become so mainstream and consumered, is it looks like it's something. And I don't think that's the original intention of it at all. And I really want to bring that forward, the beautiful teachings of Dogen on mindfulness, which I had never seen before, which I got from this book. But then I shared the word dignity, which is Norman Fisher uses that word, and it's kind of an old-fashioned word. And then just last night on PBS, whose funding is threatened, please help them. Didn't mean to throw that in, but there was a wonderful segment on, I just looked it up, just the synchronicity of it, of something called the Dignity Index. And Shriver, who's part of the Kennedy family, is the whole thing is about building dignity cultures and treating each other with dignity. And I thought, there's the word. So I sent it to Anne, and it'll be on our Engaging Buddhism site. But what an interesting word. And what is it to be upright as a person? To me, it's Zazen body. And Zazen body isn't rigid. It's not, and it's not. It's just, there's this beautiful aliveness that we know through, oh, Raisin said she's open to giving a talk too. Cool. Okay, great. So in the description of right mindfulness, the author, Hoko Carnegas, who I don't know, names it remembering reality. which I think is very beautiful. To me, it's a sense of you just keep coming back and remembering reality. You're kind of out here in all of your fantasies and your ideas and your likes and your dislikes, but to just take the backward step and to come home to all beings, to this body, to this mind, to just the deepest truth. That everything is Buddha nature. Everyone has Buddha nature. Everyone is, from every bee and ant and cell and bird and person has its own inherent dignity. And how do we meet that, bow to it, cultivate it? That, to me, is Bodhisattva vow. So, least I digress too much. She brings forward the Satipatthana Sutta, the 4 foundations of mindfulness, which we have studied here before and will probably do again. Thich Nhat Hanh, as one might imagine, it's one of his most favorite sutras, or certainly he grounds his teachings in it. 4 foundations of mindfulness. So what she the author of this brings forward is the turning from early Buddhism to Mahayana Buddhism and the difference in emphasis. The Satipatthana Sutta, the 4 foundations of mindfulness of body, sensation, mind, and phenomena, is an early Buddhism was her description, and it seems true to me, was to distance you from the world. It's like the world was, well, the body was, you contemplated it as impure. You contemplated sensations as suffering. You contemplated the mind as impermanent, and you contemplate phenomena as non-substantial. So the whole thing is to help you loosen your grip about your attachment to this life, to your likes, to your dislikes. Mahayana Buddhism turned it. Now, I think it's really important to say, because I've been in Theravadan countries and was shocked, sort of, because we were taught that Mahayana Buddhism and the Bodhisattva ideal happened later. But of course, it's always been here. Of course, people have always known that being right here, awake in the center of the world, and as part of everything, is not. I mean, you can't. To me, you can't have a human heart and not know that. So it's always been here, and the focus of the teachings changed with Mahayana Buddhism from the world of suffering. So just get suffering out there. Let's just, and the Arhat ideal is we'll just wake up for ourselves and we'll, let's transcend the world, to the Bodhisattva ideal, which is to live an awakened life in the world. She gives a little description of mindfulness and the roots of the word mindfulness, which is remembered. That's the original Sanskrit. In China, because Buddhism began in India and went to China and went to Japan and Vietnam and Korea but when it was the roots in India, early Pali, which she doesn't have the Pali here, but in Sanskrit is sati, which means remembered. That's the description of mindfulness. By China, the character means now, or heart mind, or the mind of now. You can begin to see maybe a change in taste and flavor here. And in Japan, she says it's the same character can mean attention or calling to mind. So what are we calling to mind? We're calling to mind. Everything has Buddha nature. Everything is Buddha nature. And then what we're doing is cultivating an arising awareness of the dynamic isness of everything. So Dogen's teachings then became and are full immersion in the world. Zazen is full immersion in the world. We are not separating ourselves from the world. We are sitting down right in the center of it, alive. Zazen body is awake right in the midst of the everyday, each moment. And to see the phenomenal world simply as it is, not through a me. I mean, that's, is we're not reifying a me who's doing mindfulness and being a good mindfulness person. This is not, we are not selling something here. This is to simply, I was saying to someone this morning, the reason, one of the things that brought me to this practice was just a picture from probably China of a monk sweeping. It was like that, I didn't know what it was, but it made me happy and I wanted to know what it was. And it still makes me happy and I want to know what it is. It's like, there's no me doing anything. It's just simply sweeping. It's simply sitting. It's simply breathing and being breathed. So it's going beyond the subject-object duality. This is not a self-improvement project, which it's like we all came because we wanted probably to self-improve, and we still do want to self-improve, and we'd like to be more peaceful, and all of that, and more kind, and please, but just sit. Just alive. It's here. You're not adding anything on top of it. It already is. So here's the wonderful what I was getting to, and what she brought forward in is Dogen in the Eihei Koroku, which we've done little bits of it. It's wonderful. It's not his fascicles, but little commentary. It's a compilation of little commentaries that he did at different times and different seasons, and just when he was sitting in the Zendo. And so I love it. And then so it's from there. And then she said, it's elaborated in the Shobogenzo 37 elements of Bodhi, which is San Jushi Bon Bodai Bon Pu. And I didn't go back to the original source, but I will, because this is all like delightful new information to me. So I'm going to try to share what she shared and then my insights about it. So we went from contemplating the body as impure. Dogen turns it to the body as skin bag, which I said on Tuesday. The first time I heard that, I thought that was the funniest, most delightful thing I ever heard. And it will never go away once you have this feeling of skin bag, but we'll elaborate on it. Sensation from suffering to eating bowls, to the monks going out, doing their rounds, and you just receive whatever comes. From the mind as impermanent to, I'm going to read you some of her commentary. Fences, walls, tiles, and pebbles, which we know, if you know Dogen, which we know a little bit. This is what he does. And phenomena from non-substantial to old man Zhang drinking water, old man Li getting drunk, which we'll do a little commentary. She has a commentary and I have a separate commentary. First, I thought, maybe it's true. I thought, well, she's got it right. She did her commentary. And I thought, well, wait a minute, I have commentary. So I'll give them both to you and you may have your own commentary. We'll see what happens, okay? So, body as skin bag. In contrast to Shakyamuni's instruction to contemplate the body as impure, Dogen tells us to see the body simply for the skin bag it is, without judging it to be either pure or impure, and without desiring to cast it in an unpleasant light, to lessen our attachment to it, and by extension to the phenomenal world. Dogen sees the body as the ground of awakening and thus indispensable. Without the body, he reminds us, there would be no practice, no preaching, no mindfulness itself. When human beings become Buddha, they utilize the human being to regulate the human being and become Buddha. When we act selflessly with no gap, with no subject and object, that is exactly the complete manifestation of Buddha. There is no separation between the body and the mind, the body and the universe, or practice and awakening. Just this. Just this. Okay, sensation as eating bowls. In the Tenzo Kyokan, we know, we've studied it, right? About instructions to the cook. It's such a great fascicle because it's so just this. Just pay attention to the pots. Just the Tenzo Kyokan, Dogen recalls the old saying, a monk's mouth is like an oven. Just as an oven does not resist or complain whether we put in cake, potatoes, or dog biscuits, a monk accepts whatever is put into their bowls. It begins during taking alms, and then she talks about, she went out and did alms rounds. Some people go to Japan and do that. And she says, essentially, no offering was scorned and no offering was greeted with delight. All were equally accepted for the sake of the Dharma, which is just gratitude. Just thank you. If we contemplate sensations as eating bowls, we accept the sensations with which we are presented, just as we accept what is put into our bowls. We take them all in, ignoring none, whether pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, and recognize that these two are part of the one unified reality. You'd say it's gratitude practice. It's not ours, but neither are they outside somewhere separate from us. This great stuff. I love this. This all makes me happy. I hope it makes you a little happy too. Of course, I'm way down and who knows where I am. So my mind is delighting with all of this. Okay, 3, mind as fences, walls, tiles, and pebbles. If all dharmas are the one mind, then concrete manifestations of phenomenal reality like fences, walls, tiles, and pebbles are also mine. Everything is mine. That's Yogacara. We've never studied that, but maybe we will someday. Maybe my mind is ready to do that. We'll see. While the Buddha's instructions are to contemplate the mind as impermanent, Dogen uses one of his favorite metaphors for the world of form to show that mind is impermanent, dharmas are impermanent, and the mind and dharmas are not separate. Our challenge is not to forget that everything we encounter is the one mind. And fences, walls, tiles, and pebbles are impermanent by nature, just as mind is impermanent by nature. Everything is mine. But I prefer the Tibetans the way, well, is heart mind. Everything is heart mind. Mind is not somewhere else. It's right here among the forms that make up our daily existence. Coffee cups, smartphones, and running shoes are all mine, which means they are all impermanent. And she gives a quote from the Avatamsaka Sutra, which maybe I won't do so we have enough time, but it's a great quote. I think we're going to do the Avatamsaka Sutra for practice period, but I'm not sure. But it's a great sutra. It'll blow your mind. Okay, contemplating phenomena as old man Zhang drinking wine and old man Li getting drunk. Phenomena are non-substantial, yet they are interdependent elements of this one unified reality. Their nature is to rise and pass away, thus they have no abiding self-nature that persists through time. Nothing has any abiding nature that persists through time. So the only way you can really, you want to know what an appropriate response is? You have to be here. Because otherwise, you're just gonna be, what you do is gonna be predicated on what happened before, which it's like, don't be stupid, don't think nothing happened or that you don't have some insight or. But no moment, every moment is completely unique. You have to be here. Nothing has no abiding self-nature that persists through time. Even so, their arising and passing away is not separate from the arising and passing away of all other phenomena. Isn't that amazing? It's like each moment there's 100,000 million causes and conditions that just come into manifestation and birth and are birthing and dying simultaneously at the same time. It's like you can't even, you just want to bow and do the altar and try to help people. Dogen's quote about Old Man Zhang and Old Man Li comes from Yunmen's recorded sayings, which I went to look up as a reference. He's using it here to show the interconnection of all beings and that this interconnection is beyond the perception and workings of the intellect. How does it happen that when one person drinks sake, another feels the effects? So here's another poem that I found in the recordings that I like too. It's great. You might want to go to this resource because the stories are all great. Master Yunmen once quoted a saying from the Zen poem, Faith in Mind, which is another thing we could study. We have so many things we could do. When mind does not arise, the myriad things have no fault. When mind does not arise, the myriad things have no fault. The mind doesn't, if you're not identified with this picking and choosing mind, then the master said, that's all he understood. And then he raised his staff and added, is anything amiss in the whole universe? It's like each thing is perfect. It couldn't be other than it is. And the minute you get caught in any kind of dualistic separation, you're already into karmic thinking and feeling, which is where we are. But you listen to Tuesday's talk, there was a great section from Suzuki Roshi about karma. Okay, is that fun? So let me just a little bit more from Dogen. He had 9 mindfulness practices. In the Shobogenzo, the 108 gates of Dharma, which is Yakuchi Yomuyaman, that includes a long extract from the Sutra of the collected stories of the Buddha's deeds in past lives. So here's Dogen's 9 mindfulness practices. 1, mindfulness of Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Recollecting the virtues of the Buddha, recollecting the Dharma, the teachings and the Dharma, that everything is singing the Dharma. And 2, complete immersion, and in the Sangha, complete immersion in the 3 treasures that the Dharma is manifesting through us and through everything each moment. Number 2, mindfulness of generosity. No expectation of reward. No giver, no receiver, no gift. 3, mindfulness of the precepts. Fulfilling all vows. That action and activity is for the benefit of all beings. 4, mindfulness of the heavens. Giving rise to wide and big mind. Mindfulness through performance of work, the Tenzo Kyokan. The old Tenzo who said, when steaming rice, regard the pot as your own head. When washing rice, know that the water is your own life. No separation. 6, mindfulness of the power of mindfulness, which is taking responsibility. Taking responsibility. The root word of responsibility is responsiveness. What's an appropriate response? Taking responsibility for this life, for this moment, for this whole world, which is completely joyful. Here I am. What are you asking of me, Buddhas? Okay. So here's my question. You can do whatever you want with this, but the question that came to me is, Hoko framed this question as remembering reality. What is it? What is this remembering reality? What does that mean to you? What is she talking about? What are these teachings talking about? But more importantly, turning it in, what's it mean to you? What is it to remember reality, and how do you practice with that? Okay, so we've got a little more than 10 minutes. Let's go in groups of 3. Make sure everybody has a chance. Reflection. Nobody has to be a smart Buddhist, just be present.
It's my sit bone. Yeah, so I put this one side. No, it happened often. This one thing was soon I had something different on this side. It's a repetitive stress, so it can break.
Okay.
Yeah.
And because all that attachments are by living in